giving our praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Harakah Quadash. Give double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Salutes to all the sincere elect out there. So we got some more scandals, we're going into the news, and we're in that year of apostates, sellouts, and agents. So land backing off my video I did yesterday, the word is scandal. So the Most High is bringing this place down, man. In various ways. So just watching the news last night, we got another one for you. Another in the news scandal, meaning says a widely publicized event, action, or rumor involving immoral, illegal, or improper behavior that triggers strong public outrage, shocks, or indignation. It involves a severe breach of social or ethical norms, resulting in disgrace, damage, reputation, and widespread disapproval, right? So we're going to get to the scriptures, everything. We funnel through the scriptures more. Mosai is bringing them down bit by bit, and more there's shame being exposed. The video I went into yesterday with the Lord Melson, literally caught with his pants down, literally. But when we get into that scriptures, we're gonna highlight this particular one here, one of the latest. This is recent, fresh off the press, not too long ago.
Metropolitan Police Squad that spied on people wasn't justified and should have been closed down. Those are the first conclusions of...
Take it to the top.
A secret Metropolitan Police Squad that spied on people wasn't justified and should have been closed down. Those are the first conclusions of a mammoth inquiry into a unit of undercover officers that operated from 1968. Campaigners say the initial findings today are devastating for the police, the security services and the government. The inquiry is looking into what's been called the spy cop scandal, examining accusations that undercover officers deceived women into long-term sexual relationships, that the identities of dead children were used without their families' consent, and the undercover officers collected a striking and extensive amount of personal information, including sexuality.
Right. So the devil is definitely doing what the devil do, deceiving. Right, with this this is called the spy cops. Let's get into a little bit of this because that was this clip here was 29th of June 2023, but this is what's on the news now. Right, this is what's taking place on the news now. It's trending now on the news. This is from the Guardian newspaper. Deceiving women onto sexual relationships, part of a workforce spying. A spy cops inquiry told. Inquirer retold whistleblower says senior manager did not forbid intimate relationships and advised him to use condoms. Senior manager running or covert unit permitted undercover police officers to deceive women into sexual relations. Spy cops public inquiry has heard. When you get into it, right? I just wanted to fact check or something here. I just tapped in spy cops, right? What was it all about? It says, getting into this classified UK. When the public is the enemy. The start of the undercover policing inquiry provides startling details of how the Metropolitan Police spied for decades on public political parties and peace organizations. And our elders have been giving us the heads up over there in Babylon, over there in New York, America, where my elders and our apostles, you got agents infiltrating in every camp. Is what they, over there, especially over there in America. They like to infiltrate. Satan is a deceiver, and Satan be doing what Satan be doing. Right? We get into the between 1968 and 2008, the Metropolitan Police monitored over 1,000 groups. Undercover officers infiltrated organizations for 4 to 5 years, using the names of dead children to establish a cover. Police manager knew their undercover officers spying on the troops out movement had sexual relations with up to 4 decades. And when you get into who they was infiltrating, was a lot of these so-called protesters. You know, you got all these different types of protesters that they've been infiltrating, getting their names, their addresses, and getting so close and up and personal with them. Obviously, that's how close and personal they got up with them. They was able to get into their pants, man. So they've been caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Esau, your kingdom is at its end, man. Let's get some precepts to back up the point here. So this is a prayer of David, Psalm 64:1. Prayer for deliverance from the sacred council. Yep. Hide me. Let me read from the top. A Psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Because if they're doing that to their own people, the Edomites, Egypt going up against Egypt, what they're going to try and do to the men of the Lord when they come in like a flood anyway, we know the outcome won't be, but just imagine, right? That's why the scriptures tell us to walk circumspect, and this is not our rest. Agents be infiltrating, you know what I mean? Their own people, man. Esau. Hide me from the sacred counsel of the wicked, verse 2, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. The sacred councils, the skull and bones. You got the hidden councils. A lot of them, they're hidden in plain sight as well. When you go back to the ancient Romans, you had the Pleiadians and the Paedicians. The modern day, you got the conservative, you got the Labour. These are councils hidden in plain sight, right? And don't forget that you got the main one, the shadow government. Then you got the over there in Babylon, the left and the right, the left and the right. What do they call it in over there in America? Anyway, let me tap it in. The political parties over there in America. Nah, you get mental blocks sometimes, but you got to fight them. Let's check out. What are the two political parties over there in America? Two political parties are Democrats and the Republicans. Just come back to me just as I tapped it in. So they're the two councils hidden in plain sight, but they're also behind them. You got a shadow government controlling them. So hide me from the sacred counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Yeah. And he over there, or you got the over here, we just had the recent one with in the Senate, or in the party, with the guy who got caught with his pants down, exposed, literally, Lord Melderson. And he was literally caught with his pants down, with a hand in the cooking jar. And it's more going to come out. Our big brothers and our elders have been going into it with the emails and the Epstein files. And the rabbit hole does go deep with the devils, with the Edomites. This is their sacred council. Their shadow government is now becoming exposed. Right? And the ultimate one is going to be when the Yahushua returns, which we know before he returns. We got the MOTB, the digital currency. These are all lined up. These are the prophecies that are going to take place before the WW3. And after that, you got Yahushua's return. The ultimate, because when you turn on the news now, I mean, it used to be boring, you know. You was younger, you preferred to play probably a video game, preferred to probably watch a dramatic movie. But now the movies, But now the movies are getting boring and the news is getting more dramatic than the movies. I mean, that's why them news now is because we know we're getting near to the end, and it's good because this is all the signs of the end. When we watch the news now, it's full of action, more than some of these dramatic movies. The news now is full of action, man. It's better than a dramatic movie, man. Just carry on. Who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect are the men of the Lord, the elect specifically. Right, Lord willing, that's us to shoot at the perfect, because this is the sacred council. This is their goal, the agenda. Even when you're hearing about these spy cops that infiltrated specific groups, protesters, different types of protesters. Even when you get into the Black Lives Matter years ago, that was run by the Amalekites. You put the they put the so-called black woman as the face of Black Lives Matter, when behind it, the puppets, they were just puppets, and you had the controllers controlling the puppets was the Amalekites. It was just an agenda, to anyway, that's part of their secret council. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune on laying snares, traps to catch. Once again, we know who the agendas and who they're trying to get. As we know, they're circling the wagons, they're gathering their intel, right? And if they can do that to their own people, if they can do that to their own people, spy cops, what would they really want to do to the people of the Lord, the elect? This is the agenda. They search out iniquity, they accomplish their diligent search. Both their inward thoughts are of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Yep. Ezekiel 28. That they are wiser than Daniel when you go into that. This is where we're at, man. This is where we're at. Daniel's chapters 5 and the latter verses. That's also where we're at. Nemi teki teki. The writings on the wall. That's where we're at. But right, so they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both their inward thoughts of every one of them, and their heart is deep. Yep, they search out iniquity, their heart is deep. They've got all on their side. They got all means of intel to gather information, intelligence. They've got up there in the sky, the not telescopes. Well, they use the telescopes that is controlled by their things in the sky called you know what they're them matter of fact, who controls navigation? Navigation is controlled by what? See if it gives me what I'm looking for. Complex biological systems. Not that kind of navigation. Radar. Right, radar. What is radar controlled by? So if you give me what I'm looking for. Radar fundamental controlled by automatic electronic systems and transmitted radio waves, reflection, echoes, defect, location, track objects, combination settings managed by the air traffic controllers using radar derived data, often combined with like automatic department surveillance. Yeah, surveillance is controlled by what they call them in the sky. Anyway, let's see if it comes to me. Let me carry on. they shoot. So Psalm 64:1, that they may shoot in sacred at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of lying snares privately, right, via their intelligence department, surveillance, traffic controllers, aviation managed by air traffic controllers, which are controlled by satellites. I got there in the end. They're mental blocks, man. Controlled by satellites, which the satellites control the aviation, the radar, the surveillance broadcasts controlled by satellites. That's really just the point. Radar devices such as rotating enhancedness, automatic energy, and measure the time it takes for signals to return range and the angle at which they return. So their satellites they're not just up there that we can get Sky TV and Virgin Media. They're not just up there doing that. There's a lot of surveillance that they use for too, right? So verses 6, they search out iniquity, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thoughts of every one of them, and the heart is deep. Yep. But God shall shoot at him with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. Right? They're wounded by right now. They're getting more wounded. Hit up left on the left, just like the fight with Shaka Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. He was getting lumped up. Teofimo Lopez was getting lumped up. His face was lumped up and swollen up by Shakur Stevenson. He was just getting picked apart. And if he would have really pressed it, if Shakur Stevenson would have pressed the issue, he was pressing it in the just picking him off. Basically, he was just setting traps and picking him off, and using timing, and distance control. Shakur Stevenson was using timing and distance control, and picking off Teofimo Lopez. And in the 11th round, he was pushing it, but then he kind of eased off in the 12th. Maybe he could have stopped him if he'd have carried on doing what he was doing in the 11th round. He may have stopped Teofimo Lopez. But Teofimo Lopez is, I believe, is one of the northern tribes, so-called Latino. I don't know which one, but he had some racist statements that he was saying in the build-up to the fight, some racial comments about slavery. And at the end, he got so lumped up, he had to apologize. He got so lumped up in the fight, he had to apologize for those racist comments. But it's all, in boxing you get trash talkers. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people say you go too far. When you bring in race into it, you're probably going too far. But he was humbled at the end, and he did apologize. And he is a brother anyway. He's a Latino, so-called Latino northern tribe. And Teofimo and Shakur Stevenson could be a Rubinite, could be Judah. But let me get back on track anyway. Track. But yeah, there is politics in boxing. Definitely there's politics in boxing. And there's definitely sweet science in boxing. Anyway, but God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. Right, that's what I was talking about. They was getting lumped up. Esau, just like Esau he's getting lumped up now. Not knocked out yet, because we got to wait for the prophecy to take place. But this is a scandal, which is another weapon that the Most High be using, right? Throwing scandals at them. They're being shot at, and they're being wounded. Suddenly shall they be wounded. Here's the point. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. This is where we're at. They're making their own tongue to fall upon themselves. The scandals. Let's get back to the word again. Scandal meaning widely publicized event, action, rumor, Right? Their tongue has fallen upon themselves. And this is how the Most High brings down kingdoms. Eventually, he starts like this, but eventually we know that the stone that is not built by hands, which represents Yehoshua, Daniel's chapters 2, around 30 onwards, represents a stone, because right now we're at that time. The molten clay and the clay and the iron that it's not mixing. That's where we're at. And Yehoshua is the stone, represents a stone gonna come and smash that kingdom. The feet of the statue, which represent the revived Romans today. You're gonna smash it. But first, we're seeing things like these scandals, widely publicized event, action, or rumor involving immoral, illegal, or improper behavior that triggers strong public outrage, shock, or indignation. Yeah. So who was exposed? Once again, you got the guy who was exposed, caught with his pants down. The guy, Lord Medicine, which I went in early this week, might have been yesterday. He was literally, this is how he was caught. Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. Literally. It represents spiritually they're being exposed, but literally he was caught with his pants down. You know the Epstein files and all of that. You know what I mean? His connection with Epstein, right? And emails with the briberies, all kinds of things is happening now. That's where we know. That's why we know we're at the end. And I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Right there. So he's uncovering their shame, their secrets, their sacred parts, and eventually, the great millstone will come and smash. That's Yehoshua, the grand finale. The Wadayahu Bashim Yoshai Kala Yahweh Bashim Yoshai Bashim Bakar Kodash. That's just it right there, man. There's more taking place when you watch all the scandals, man. Scandals left, right and centre. You know what I mean? Left, right and centre. You got a police officer here being interviewed, right? Satan doing what he do, trying to deceive, but you know what I mean? The truth will stand, right? And your tongue is falling upon yourself, E. You're done, as our elders say. You're done. Edom, you're done. To the next one.